Hey, what's good YouTube? Welcome back to my devlog on Future Warfare. I hope you all are doing awesome. In this video, we're going to be adding in a new unit to the Dreadnaught side, the Plasma Conductor. The Plasma Conductor is going to be able to deal damage to multiple enemies at once when it attacks. So to start, we'll be going through the process of me creating the animations, and then I'll show you how I integrated this unit into the game through code. So sit back and relax and enjoy the process. Alright, let's start with creating a drawing for the Plasma Conductor. This will give me an idea of how the Plasma Conductor is going to look in game. We will also be using this drawing in the bind card for this unit. Once I have my sketch finished, I'm going to fill in the base colors next. I'm also going to create a clipping mask on top of the final sketch. So the clipping mask allows me to change the RGB colors of the final sketch only. So we're replacing the black color with whichever color I choose. And I choose to match the base colors so that essentially the final sketch blends into the base colors. Once I have all the base colors finished, I'm going to add a little bit of detail and shading. We of course also need a background to go along with this drawing. I've decided to put the Plasma Conductor inside a hallway with a window looking out into space. Sweet, we have the finished drawing right here. Cool, let's actually get the Plasma Conductor's bind card added into the game. I'm going to start by duplicating the Antimatter Grenadier's bind card, and we will simply just replace the graphic used for the bind card. And I'm going to go into the inspector and change the properties of this bind card. Let's move on to creating the walking animation, or more accurately, the moving animation for this unit. Here you can see me comparing each of the frames and how they move together. So I'm just trying to get the keyframes down so that I can get an idea of the flow of movement. Now that we have the rough draft of the Plasma Conductor's moving animation done, you can see that the thrusters turn a little bit directionally, as well as the whole Plasma Conductor is kind of tilting forward a little bit, with the claws bouncing up and down. Alright, let's add a little life to this guy by coloring in the colors, as well as creating a clipping mask on the outlines. And I'm doing pretty much the same method as I did with the drawing of the Plasma Conductor. I'm also using the drawing of the Plasma Conductor as reference for the various parts of the body and what colors they are, as well as for the details. I wanted to add the ring effect from the thrusters as the Plasma Conductor is moving forward. Here we have the finished moving animation for the Plasma Conductor. I also added in the bottom thrusters, and I'm thinking both thrusters are looking pretty good. Next, I decided to start working on the laser animation. I imported the laser animation into the game so that I can get an idea of how it looked. Naturally, next I'm going to start working on the attack animation. The first frame I'm going to be creating is the final frame. And this is going to be the same frame that's going to be played when the laser is fired. Next, I shifted my focus onto the arms for the next frames, because that's going to be the focal point of movement. And once I have that, I'm going to connect the arms to the body. I also wanted to make the crystals glow towards the end of the attack animation to show that the Plasma Conductor is charging up for the attack. Cool, here's our finished attack animation. I added in the thrusters. Besides the back ones, since the Plasma Conductor is not moving forward, wouldn't make sense for them to be on. After looking at the moving animation for the Plasma Conductor again, I realized I needed to go back and change the shading for the arms. It was far too distracting. I decided to do the shading myself rather than use Photoshop's effects. Here's what the Plasma Conductor looks like when combining the attack animation with the laser. Let's start by creating the range box collider for the Plasma Conductor. This box collider will be a trigger that gets all the enemy hitboxes within it, so that damage can be applied to the enemies. I'm going to make another box collider and call this one attack trigger. This will be the actual box collider that puts this unit into attack state. It's going to be much shorter than the ranges box collider. So this unit's going to move up to about melee range and then begin its attack state. And this unit is actually able to hit multiple units at once when it fires. So that's why the range hitbox is much, the range's box collider is much longer than the attack triggers. So here's the code we're going to be using for the Plasma Conductor's range. So we're going to have a method onTrigger enter 2D. So any collider that passes into this will be picked up, but we want to put an if statement to see if it's a Galaxian hitbox, because that's the only thing that we want to be accessing. And if it is a Galaxian hitbox, we want to add it to our list. And this will allow us to access the hitboxes so that we can apply damage when the Plasma Conductor attacks. And we also want to remove the Galaxian hitboxes once the enemy Galaxian is destroyed or they move outside of range. And that's what onTrigger exit 2D is going to do for us. So this is a way of allowing us to do damage to multiple units, since we have a list of hitboxes. I'm going to copy and paste get hitbox from the Galaxian Enforcer unit. That unit does AoE damage as well, just like the Plasma Conductor. Each of my units in the game has a different script for their hitbox, so we have to declare those all as variables. And that's what get hitbox is going to do for us. Get hitbox is going to check the name of the hitbox that is being passed through. Then it will assign it to the proper script variable. Once that's done, we're going to apply the damage to that unit. We're going to check with the if statement to see if shoot is true, so that the damage is only applied once. I'm just going to jump right back into the Dreadnaught credit script to add the health and damage variables for the Plasma Conductor, which I'm setting the Plasma Conductor's damage to 55 for now, and the Plasma Conductor's health to 150. So I stumbled across Lost Relic Games tutorial on Unity's Animator, and I'll put a link in the description below so that you can check it out if you're also doing Unity. But anyways, in his tutorial, he shows a better way of going about the animator. Instead of having these arrows connecting each animator state, you can just have them disconnected and have the animator play one at a time. This was a lot simpler and a lot more effective. I decided to use enumerators to delay between each of the animation states. So for this first delay start attacking, we're going to have a delay of 2.71 seconds. While we're waiting for that delay, we're going to change the animation state to the idle state, which is this state right over here. Once the delay of 2.71 seconds has passed, we're going to switch over to the attack animation. When the Plasma Conductor begins attacking, we want to run the coroutine delay start attacking. But we also want to create an if statement so that this coroutine's only ran once. We need to create our next IE numerator for our next delay between animations. Our next delay will be 1.29 seconds. Once that delay's passed, we're going to spawn in the plasma laser. As we can see, this is not working as intended. I exited out of the full screen of the game view so that I can see in the inspector if there's anything off. And as we can see, there's way too many plasma lasers being spawned in. And I think it has something to do with the coroutines running way too many times, since it is within fixed update. After thinking about all the animation states I need for the Plasma Conductor, I still needed another one. I needed an animation for after the Plasma Conductor shoots. So here we have the post-fired animation. And it's basically kind of like a resetting animation, getting the claws back up to starting position. And you may be able to notice that the Plasma Conductor kind of gets knocked back a little bit from the power of the plasma laser. And I added a little bit of the back thruster going off to counteract that. Yeah, physics! Alright, after much playing around with the code, I figured out basically we needed more break checks between each of the coroutines so that we were sure that each coroutine ran only once. And I also created these bool variables that will help us break check. So we have is created and 3 ran onces. So we have our if statement to check and see if we are in a start attack and if we haven't ran it once. So once the coroutine finishes running once, we're going to do ran once equals true. So that's going to be our check there. We're doing the exact same thing for our next coroutine. And same thing for our third coroutine, firing plasma laser. And once all of them have ran through, so each round once should be equal to true, then we'll reset them all back to false. And I also added a check if the plasma laser was created only once, so we don't have that issue where it's spawning a bunch of plasma lasers. And then we add that new animation post fired, and added another IE numerator firing plasma laser. It's just a delay of 0.77 just to give the animation some time to finish. Sweet! We have all the animations now working. And if you look at the top right, you can see that the damage is being applied properly to the Galaxian space as well. So yeah, it looks like we're pretty much done with adding this unit to the game. Now that the Plasma Conductor can deal damage, we also have to make it so that it can receive damage. So I'm going into all of the Galaxian's ranges scripts, and I'm going to add in the if statement for the Plasma Conductor, as well as a call to the method for the Plasma Conductor to take damage. Awesome, it seems like the Plasma Conductor's hitbox is responding to the attacks. We also need to create a standing script for the Plasma Conductor if the Plasma Conductor is waiting behind another Dreadnaught unit. So once that happens, we will trigger the idle animation state. And once the Dreadnaught exits the 2D collider, the Plasma Conductor will go back into a moving state. Now that we have everything added to this unit, let's see how it looks in-game. So I decided to decrease the max HP of the Plasma Conductors from 150 to 250. I felt like that would be enough health for it to stay alive to get a few attacks off. And you can see the Plasma Conductor right behind the other one is in an idle state. Yeah, these guys do a lot of damage. This guy's gonna get one shot right here. Boom. So these guys are pretty strong, but I still feel like they aren't strong enough. And the range that they have doesn't really match the range of the animation. So I'm deciding on increasing the range so that it hits 3 units at once instead of 2. These units cost 5,000 credits, so that is a pretty expensive unit. So let's see what that looks like with these changes. Yeah. A big difference for sure. Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. This is Inferno signing off. Later.